So the next thing we're going to talk about are roles. And so what roles do is it allows you to designate certain things to different people. And there are lots of different ways to kind of organize things, but I'm going to go over kind of the easiest way to get started with roles, and then we'll also look at differentiating roles. So this is one of the things that you do want to think about if you are thinking about putting together a server. Are all of your students going to just be one role, the student role? That works well for single class servers like this one. So if we pretend that computers and writing is our class, then all of you are kind of under the student role. But there's other ways you can bring those in as well. So what I want to do is come up to our server name, and I'm going to go to server settings. This is where you have all of the sort of metadata for your server. I'm just going to go up here to roles. Now again, we have a pretty small group, and this is for a single class. So we're going to create a role, and you can see we've got the everyone role and then our two bots that I've already added. So I'm going to have this new role just be students. And they're all gray right now, which I don't like, so I'm going to make this a nice teal color. So when you make the role, then you can also add permissions to that particular role. So you can come here and go through the different permissions. Usually what you're going to be doing if you do any of this with permissions is just say which channels they can and can't view. You're probably not going to have students like inviting people and those sorts of things. So you can look through those different permissions on your own if you want in your own server, but that's the basics of putting together a role. Now, let's say that you have a writing course where you have discussion leaders or anything where the students are taking sort of a leadership or a directing role in your class. You could make them moderators. Oops. Nope, I need to go back. I don't know. Accidentally overwrote the student one, so I put it back. So we have student now. I'll hit create role again. Now we're going to put in moderator. I'll give the moderator a blue tag right there. So this is another place where you'll have permissions. So I'm going to give them the permission to, if they have the moderator tag, they can view channels. And if they have the moderator tag, let's say that they can time out members. So if someone's being wild in the chat, they can set them in a timeout. And we'll also say that they can create public threads. So basically when you have your channel, you have like just an ongoing, almost stream of consciousness discussion that's going on. Threads allow you to say, hey, this is a like subtopic of this channel's discussion, and it gives you a separate space to talk about that specific topic. And let's see. And they can tag everyone. So those are the things that my moderators can do. It's another good one if you have a TA, student assistant, anything like that. So for a single course server, that's going to work pretty well. Not a lot of different roles that you can have, but you still do need to have roles, because when you go to do the sort of steps of gamification, a lot of those depend on what role you have. In a hub where you have different classes all in one hub, you're probably going to have more roles, because what you don't want is, if I am taking your Comp 2 class, but not your script writing class, you don't want me having access to the script writing class. So you will have a lot more roles. So I'm going to go back to server settings in my hub and click on roles. And you can see that I have a lot of different roles. So I have levels that they can earn, and we'll see what that looks like when we start playing with the gamification settings. But I also have these roles that go with my classes. And I also have a probation role. So I have this role just in case anyone is a bad actor in my class. I can kind of tag them as, okay, you're on warning. But these are the ones that go with my class. So all I do once I have the class specific ones is I come to those particular categories, and I'm going to right click and edit category and go to permissions. And so here you can see who can access this category. Here's where you can add members or roles. And I've added the interactivity specialist role. So the only people who can get into this category are me, because I own the server, Arcane, which is one of our bots, and that's going to help us gamify things, and the interactivity specialist people. So once the students have their roles, they can go into the class. And we'll talk a little bit about how they get their roles in a second here. So that's how you put roles with specific categories. And you can also do this with different channels if you really want to get into sort of nitty-gritty moderation, but it's not entirely necessary. So that is it on adding roles, and we're going to talk a little bit in the next video about starting to add bots.